day 2. My name is Cindy Trussell, and I am a biology faculty at Kodiak College, and I just want to make sure that my audio is coming through all right. So if you would either give me a green check or a smiley face. Thanks, Katie. And hello, Gina and Stacy. It's nice to see you both here. And so what we'll be talking about today is Google Plus Hangouts on air and at least 1 or 2 practical uses that I have found for them. And then I'm going to open things up so that we can talk about some other things. I've certainly read a ton about how other people use them as well. So I absolutely love new technology, and especially new technology that can be utilized in educational settings. I'm pretty sure I'm what they call an early adopter, and welcome. Pretty sure what they call an early adopter when it comes to new educational technology, and especially when it comes to all things Google. And so just so that you all know, I'm going to go through my relatively brief presentation. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to join us, and then I have interactive stuff for us to do at the end, including potentially getting on a Hangout together that I have set up. So I just don't want you to think that I'm not going to do anything interactive. I just was a little concerned that maybe I would have an audience of 0, and so I prepared it so that I have about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 of the presentation, and then some interactive stuff at the end. Alrighty, so I started using Google Docs when it first became available. Hold on one sec. All right, I guess that's what it is. Okay, so I started using Google Docs as soon as it became available. I then adopted Google Voice when that became available. I, of course, was an early adopter of Gmail when that was available. And then I heard about this thing called Google Hangouts and started that as soon as that was available as well. Of course, I've had a number of problems throughout all of these new adoptions, but each time a new technology has become available, I have attempted to try to use it in a way that I can integrate it with my students. And so if you're interested in how I use some of these other technologies, and I've just put them all up here, right? So Google Docs and Google Voice and Gmail and Hangouts and calendaring. I sort of try to use all of these things as best I can with my students and to make the experience a little bit more integrated. One of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes things work great, and I'm thrilled about it, and other times I completely fall on my face. And so while I'm not an expert in any of these particular apps, I absolutely love learning, and I am completely willing to give it a try, even if I might fail. And so now what I wanted to do is make sure that we all have a shared kind of lexicon for what Google Docs, or sorry, what Google Hangouts is all about. And if any of you have used, it's a video conferencing type software that can be used in a very personal way, in the way that we use FaceTime. It could also be used in a more collaborative group way, in the way that some people use Skype. It's also similar to Link. And it also offers full online streaming, meaning that you can broadcast yourself and your class out to the world at large. And so it really is becoming more and more of a video conferencing software. Does that make sense? So green checks if you're familiar with this general idea of this. Okay, great. Okay, just making sure that I'm making sense. And whoever Google Hangouts is still having some audio problems, and so hopefully that person, I'll go off my mic for a minute and see if that lets that person catch up. Perhaps not. Okay. I will say that it's also like we have at the University of Alaska Anchorage, we have Link, and so it's also like Link, but I would say it's a bit more fun. And so Google Hangouts used to be only available if you were a Google Plus subscriber, meaning that you signed up for their social networking. Recently, they have, within the month of September 2014, they have now made Google Hangouts available for everybody who has any kind of Google account of any type. So no longer do you need to be part of their social networking platform. $1 million, yay! Okay. But there are some key features and key differences that we want to take a look at, depending on how you would want to use Google Hangouts. And so I wanted to be clear about what the differences are. Many of you may have been in a regular Google Plus Hangout at some point. A regular Google Plus Hangout or a Google Hangout is a personal event. It's by invite only. You must have a Google app account. The sessions are never recorded, and you are limited to a maximum of 10 if you're using your regular Gmail account or Google account, and potentially up to 15 depending on your organization. So at our alaska.edu account, it is possible. I don't know how the folks up in Fairbanks have set it up, but it technically is possible for us to have up to 15 people in a Google Plus Hangout. Whereas a Google Plus Hangout on Air, which are the type of Hangouts that I've been practicing with this semester, they're available for much larger groups. The sessions are automatically recorded and posted to YouTube. They do not require a specific invite. You simply need the YouTube link. However, you can invite people directly, and so we'll talk about those differences. One of the drawbacks of a Google Plus Hangout on Air, and it's a little awkward for teaching, is that there is a 60-second lag time, whereas when you're in an actual Google Hangout, there's no lag time. It is like a regular video call like you would do with FaceTime or with Skype. Okay, are there questions at this point for the difference between these two? I'm going to be going over sort of what I needed, why I did this, and then how to set it up. All right. So the next piece is that I wanted to talk about why I bothered to figure out anything about Google Plus Hangouts on Air. And the reason was that I agreed to pilot a different new technology here on Kodiak College's campus called Echo 360. It's a lecture capture software that looks something like this, right? So you can both see, let me use my little pointer. You can both see what's going on in the classroom, and you can also see what's going on the instructor's screen, and it's a push-out platform, meaning that the students who are the distance students see you and they see your slides, but they have a text option into you, but it's not like this platform. It's not like Collaborate where we can raise hands and all of those things. It's a lot more limited for the students at a distance, but it is a nice way to potentially try a blended classroom, which is what we were interested in trying, is how to have face-to-face students and also have students online. And so the students already thought we were going to be using Echo 360, and then we had a major audio problem, meaning that everybody could see me on Echo 360, but no one could hear me. And so I don't know about you all, but when trying to present to folks, ideally they would be able to hear what you're saying and not just see. So I needed to come up with a plan B the weekend before classes were starting, which meant I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare the students for the technology pieces of a plan B, right? So the sort of that backup digital snow day sort of thing. What was our plan B going to be for this class? I worked with Debbie Canavan, who's the instructional designer here at Kodiak College, and she's also team teaching this chemistry class with me. And we talked about all of our different options. And so we considered Collaborate, which is this platform. And right now I'm going to go ahead and click on the video and show you the video quality that comes through in Collaborate here. And so it's okay, and if you guys don't see me, then look in the upper left-hand corner and there'll be a drop-down arrow next to audio and video. And you'll notice that it's pretty stilted and jerky, and it's not an ideal video platform. And so we opted not to go with Collaborate primarily because its video is it's meant to be optimized for low bandwidth, and so that's not what we were looking for. We also considered Skype, however, and we do have professional accounts here at the college for Skype, but that would require me getting all of the students' Skype account names and what have you, whereas using the Google platform, since all of our students are on the alaska.edu account, which is a Google account, I thought that that might be a way to go about it. So I decided to give it a shot. And the order that I took in terms of doing this, and this is something I do for most of my classes anyway, is I create a contact list within my alaska.edu Gmail account. So that's something I do as just part of my Plan B planning for all of my courses. So then I created that class list in the Google Plus Circles thing, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Then I created my, oh shoot, I have two things out of order. I can't believe I did that. That's really funny. Then I created my Hangout on Air, so go to the right where it says number 3. Then after I created the Hangout on Air, I got the links, and then I posted those links in Blackboard. The benefit to this was that I wasn't asking the students to do anything different than simply watch a YouTube video. And I'm pretty sure that most people have watched YouTube videos in the past, so I thought that this was a low-tech solution to my Plan B problem, right? I needed a way to have the students both video into our chemistry class and also see my screen. And so I opted to use Google Plus Hangouts on Air for this because I also needed it to be recorded. So I couldn't use a number of other features. So here are the steps, sort of in a one-by-one, just because I thought people might be interested in how I did this, and if not, I apologize. I'll go through it, and I'll try to make it clear and not go too quickly. So the first thing is I do have the Google Plus account, and it is, if you're going to use Google Plus Hangouts in a classroom setting and not just for office hours or something like that, I would highly recommend that you turn on the Google Plus feature because it does allow you to create these circles. And you'll notice in the bottom right over here it says Fall 14 Chemistry. So I created an entire group that has all of my Fall 14 Chemistry students in it. Some of these students are face-to-face here in Kodiak. They actually come to the classroom. And some of these students are at a distance. This allows for easy invites within the Google Plus Hangouts environment. So then the next thing that I did is you'll notice that there's this drop down over here. And so I switched from people over into Hangouts. And then I want to choose this Hangouts on Air option. So that's what I did. I went ahead to Hangouts on Air. I had never done this before. I was just like, okay, maybe this can work. I wasn't so sure. So you can give it a name, you can tell people what it's all about, and then notice that you can start it immediately or you can start it later. So I chose to start it later, and I named it like lecture. I named it like Survey of Chemistry Lecture and the date, and then I also put in here, this is our backup plan for Echo 360, and this is how we'll be attending lecture for the first day of class because we're having some technical difficulties with Echo 360. So I put all of that information in there. And then you set your date and your time and your duration. you can, and this is the key of having your classes set up in circles, is when you type in here, if it's a circle, I just had to type in FA14 chemistry, and all of my students are invited to that Hangout at once. Okay, so far so good. Green checks if this is making sense. Red X's if I should go back over any of the steps. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so then once you do that, once you set it out and you click this share button, you get these screens. Like, oh, here's what's new in Google Plus Hangouts. And so you get a couple of new apps, and it says these, and they're audience feature apps. And so some of them are questions and applause and things like that. And so I said, yes, please, turn them on all. I want showcase, I want applause. And I didn't really know what these things were, but I figured the more things that could make it interactive for the students, and the more ways that we could communicate back and forth would be better. Okay. And then this is what your screen looks like once you have created your Google Plus Hangout on air. You'll notice that it's got your title, and then it has this kind of muted out video screen. You can change what this picture is. You can add in a little trailer if you want. You can even video record a trailer for your Google Plus Hangout. This means I have questions and answers turned on. This means I have the showcase turned on, and this means I have applause turned on. Those can be turned off. If you don't want any of those features, you can those are something that you can toggle. And then when you're ready to broadcast, meaning it's going to go out live on the internet, then you hit the start button. And so you usually wait until just before class for that. You'll notice that I make my events private. This means that only the people that I have invited to the event will know about it. So basically, they're unlisted YouTube videos. That's the nice way. That's the way to think about them. If you've played around with YouTube, you can have YouTube videos that are completely public. You can have YouTube videos that are unlisted, meaning that when people do a search, your videos don't come up. Or you can have videos that are completely private. And for this, you can't do this completely private. Yeah, no, exactly, Gina. Nobody can search for the event. So I chose that since this was a classroom setting. I thought that was most appropriate. I would imagine if you were thinking about doing this as a public event and you wanted to broadcast, let's say, all sorts of financial aid information out to your entire community, then you would want that to be public. Oh yeah, for student advising groups, you could absolutely do this. And maybe you would want, and depending on the size of your group, if your group is 10 or fewer and you need the privacy, you may not want to choose the Hangouts on air. You may just want regular Hangouts. But if you need it to be recorded, then you want Hangouts on air. Okay, next step. Once you've created your Hangout on air, you have the opportunity to get the links. And so I'm going to go back and forth and show you this. So notice this is what your page looks like. And you have to search for this little button over here that says links to find out where to get those links. And then I grabbed this video embed code to put into Blackboard. And so you can also email people the direct YouTube link. You can give them, if you know their Google Plus members, you could give them the event page. But I was wanting to put this into Blackboard. So I grabbed this video embed code and posted it into Blackboard, which I had no idea it was going to work so seamlessly, but it looks, I mean, it was just really kind of cool. So you post the iframe code into your Blackboard shell, and it shows up, and I did this one for this session today, and it shows up and it tells you exactly how long until the session will actually start, which is pretty darn cool, right? So students can show up into your Blackboard shell or even go to your event page, and if they click on it, it'll just say, just wait a little bit. But this means that as many people as you want can watch at the same time, and all they need to do is be able to watch a YouTube video, which makes it for very, very, in some ways, low-tech solution to having a plan B. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I see the question you typed in. I'm just about finished up. Exactly. So my lecture streams completely live via YouTube. Just like when the president does his State of the Union and his little fireside chats and things like that over YouTube, and some of the debates have been done over YouTube, similar. Time limit is 8 hours at a time. Isn't that crazy? 8 hours. Yeah. So I don't specifically hold class in Blackboard, but I did post it in Blackboard, right? So if a student were to press play on this in Blackboard, they would be within the Blackboard shell and watching, but it's technically streamed through YouTube. All right. So what did it look like? Well, it looks like this. This was when I was doing my screen sharing. Once it starts, you'll notice that the students get this little thing that pops up that allows them to be part of the conversation and actually join the Hangout at the same time. And it also looked, that was when I was screen sharing, and then when I was using the video feature, this is actually me in class saying hello to all the people that were at a distance, and so they were able to see what was going on in the classroom as well as I switched back and forth between the video feed and the screen share feed. What kind of camera did we use? So I think the easiest camera to use would have been a webcam. However, since we were set up for Echo 360, we used a very nice, high-quality widescreen video camera because it was already hooked up. But I would probably, yes, I would probably choose a webcam for ease of use, like a USB webcam, if I were going to, if we didn't have that set up in the room already. Okay. All right. So what this was able to do for me, it was able to give me a quick, it wasn't necessarily the quickest and easiest. I did a ton of testing to make sure it was going to work first. And so I was running back and forth between where I teach and my office and had a whole bunch of different computers all on to make sure it looked like the way I wanted it to look. But the idea was I needed an a low-tech way for the students to join. And the reason I wanted that is because I think sometimes our students, especially at the beginning of a semester, can be overloaded with the new technologies that they're being asked to learn. And since I thought YouTube is something that each student was likely to be comfortable with already, I thought this was a good way to go. And now I'm hooked, and I'm using Echo 360 because it's a grant requirement, but honestly, I think I'd rather be using the Google Plus Hangouts because it allows for a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more fun. Okay, so that's what I had for a presentation, and then I just had I just wanted to know if there are thoughts or questions, and then I have a couple of other fun things to talk about.
I just had a question, Cindy. So I suppose it works kind of like video conferencing where you can just quickly go back and forth between your camera and your application sharing?
Great question, Katie. It's exactly like that, where you do, as the presenter, you do have to physically make the changes between sharing your desktop and sharing the video. So it does require a little bit of work on the presenter's side, whereas Echo 360, I'll go back to that screen, is a little bit nice in that it offers simultaneously what's going on in the classroom and your web screen and your screen. So there's the nice thing about Echo 360, but Echo 360 also costs us $12,000 a year. So, and Google Plus Hangouts on Air is free. A good tutorial for sharing the desktop, etc. There is, and I should have put together a list of resources, but there's this guy, I think he's called the Google Dude. I think that's his name. And he has, is that right? No, it's Google Guru. He's the Google Guru. And he has a number of really good apps to sort of show you, or not apps, little YouTube video feeds showing you how to go about specifically doing this. I wanted, so other questions about this, or other ways you were, that's what I was going to say. Other ways that people use this. one of the great things you can do with it is you can easily use it for office hours or one-on-one meetings that are planned. Yeah, so I would look him up on YouTube, the Google Guru, and he also has a whatchamacallit, he has a blog site that he talks about all things Google as well. So Google Hangouts, where it integrates within your Google Calendar. I should say, does everyone here have their Google Apps account? Green checks if you already have your Google Apps account, and red X's if you don't yet have that. And if you're not sure what that is, then a red X as well. I didn't realize my audio wasn't on. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so what I said on this slide was that as soon as you set out a Google Plus Hangout, it automatically populates your calendar. And so let's say you have office hours every Tuesday at a certain time. You can set that up and share that with your students so that you and they would both know. And so you're not saying to your students, hey, you can have access to office hours at all times. You're saying that these are the specific times, which is really nice. Okay, and then the next thing I was going to say is I was hoping to potentially show you a couple of the fun features in Google Hangouts. So I thought that we might switch over to Google Plus Hangouts if you were interested. And so is that something you might be willing to try? Give me green checks if you are. All right, so we can try it in two different ways, and so I'm in the chat box. I'm going to post the YouTube link to it, and which will mean you'll be on a 30 to 60-second delay from me, and then I can invite. So Mary Dallas, hold on. I can invite each of you could also, and then I'm going to also share the other link. So here's the YouTube link. And if you use your @alaska.edu account, then you can also join directly. I'm going to send you the event page next, and that would mean that you would actually be able to use the full features and there would be no lag. So that's the second link. So the first link is if you want to see what it looks like from YouTube, and the second link is what it would look like if you join as a Hangout user. And so I'm going to go off this microphone and switch to my other computer and be on Google Plus Hangouts. So it didn't work for anyone? Oh, you need to, that's interesting because I invited, see, now I've just learned a new thing. So what I did when I set it up, let me just double check. I'll go back to the setup. I invited, does it show where I thought I invited everybody in the UA domain. Maybe I messed up and changed it with my chemistry. You were on the YouTube version, so let me just see. Nope, I shared it with everybody. That's really okay. That's interesting. That'll be something worth troubleshooting, and I'd certainly be interested. You asked a question on there, and see, this is I am now, thank you. The questions don't come through very quickly. So did you ask a question, Stacy, just out of curiosity, like right away? Or did you ask a question later? Because I did turn on questions and I should have seen it, but I don't think I did see it. Huh. Okay. All right. Well, I will say take some, even there's definitely a practice piece that that is probably pretty important for using Google Hangouts, and one of them is now I know that I guess I can't just use that whole UA thing and have you guys be able to get in that way, and I would have to do individual invites, which is possible from within the session. But before we finish up, because I know we're supposed to finish up by 11:45, so you have time to get a drink and and stretch in case you want to attend another session. And so this was a session for the eTech Fair for this year because we're celebrating Distance Education Week. It only gave you the option to watch, not to join. Interesting. Interesting. Huh, I kind of want to go back and troubleshoot it, but but I don't want to troubleshoot that before I forget to tell you that. We have an evaluation for the eTech Fair, and we have a couple of options for you. You can either fill out the survey after each session that you attend, or you can fill it out at sort of closer to the end of the week, and you can indicate all of the sessions that you have attended. And the reason for doing that is that we have created digital badges. So if you're thinking about your annual activity report or your performance review this is a way to demonstrate that you have done some professional development, and so you can get badges. And today is the collaboration badge that you can earn. So if you go to 2 or more Tuesday sessions, you can get a collaboration badge. And if you join in throughout the week, you can get a whole eTech Fair badge. Thanks, Katie, for saying that. And it does definitely work with circles, and you can do within session invites within the Google Plus Hangouts. And I have done those a number of times. And so if this is something that you're interested in and you have additional questions or you want to practice, I'd be happy to practice with you. At some, if you wanted to try out a Google Plus Hangouts on air and see how all the different features are working, it's always fun to have somebody to practice with. So if you wanted to practice, just send me a quick email and send it to my alaska.edu one, since that's the account that we would need to use. And I see that my audio is lagging. Right, so note that these links on the slide are hot links, and so so for the survey you can click on this one, and for the and if you need to join Credly so you can accept your badges, then that's the link for Credly. And I'll go ahead and put the Qualtrics survey link into the chat box as well, just in case you're having trouble clicking on it on the screen. And I will go off the mic and take any questions.
Cindy, can you hear me? Hello? I'm not sure if you can hear. I had some questions. I use, oh great. I use Google Hangouts for office hours, and I've been setting it up for spring semester. And my experience is that if the students include me in the circle, and I already have the schedule set up, that they can just simply join it at the scheduled time. And so I did jump into this video late. I'm not sure if you went through that experience, but I had just a few questions myself, and I would like to sit down and experiment with you. I'm not sure if you can hear what I'm saying. I'm going to sign off. Maybe I'll send you an email. Thank you.
No, I can totally hear you. We just have a single microphone turned on, and so here, I'll change that. Let's see. Audio. maximum simultaneously talkers. I'll put on 2 so that more than one person can talk. Yes, I could hear you just fine. And yeah, I'd love to hear your experiences. And so were you doing Google Plus Hangouts on air or just the regular Google Plus Hangouts? Oh, right. So was that for me, Katie, or for Ann? So Ann, I could hear you just fine. Can you hear me all right? I was curious which of the styles that you used for your Hangouts, if you used the on-air style or if you used just the more personal Google Plus Hangouts. How many folks have used regular Google Plus Hangouts already, like with friends or for work or what have you? Green checks if you've used it before. All right, and then another question: how many of you have used Google Plus Hangouts to watch a YouTube video with somebody, which is something you can do and it's super cool? Okay. All right. Well, okay. So I wanted the last piece, and because we're just about done, is I just wanted to say this, which is if you have a Google Voice account, it is now integrated within Hangouts as well, which is kind of cool because it means that you can get a call from Google Voice within your Hangout, which is a nice integrated feature. And now also within Gmail, there's this nice little app that you can immediately start a Hangout from within the Gmail as well. Go ahead, you can ask a question.
Yes, this is Mary Dallas. Sorry, I put the wrong term in. I didn't understand the question. I was supposed to put my name in. But anyway, I've been trying to figure out how to use Google Hangouts. And so I didn't know about the on-air part. When students are watching in the YouTube video, are they truly just watching and they can't interact? They need to be in the Hangout to interact? I'm still not sure I understand that part.
Great question, Mary. If they're watching through the YouTube link, they really can't interact a ton. But if they join the Hangout, then they show up on the video screen along with everybody else. And so then they interact in real time, and I can see them, and they can also still see what's going on in class. And so for interaction purposes, it would be ideal that you would have most of your students actually join the Hangout. However, for ease of making sure that nobody gets left out, then using that YouTube link as well is a nice feature, because you know people are going to be able to watch the YouTube video. But if you want that interaction piece, then Hangouts is important. Then the Hangouts part is important, and we are limited to just, I'd say 10 is your safe number.
Okay, so when they are on the YouTube, they're watching you live. They just can't necessarily do all the interaction part.
That is exactly right. And somebody else asked me a question about the recordings. And so it's kind of nice that in the recordings, if students join in the Hangout, as far as I can tell, those little video screens do not show in the recording. I'm not 100%. I was looking through. I had 2 students who joined via video, and I was looking through the videos today, and I didn't see that their video screens were showing up, which was kind of nice because it allowed some anonymity.
I had a question about one of the challenges I've not been able to solve with just the Google Hangout, not on air, but just the Google Plus Hangout. Can I schedule a Google Hangout to occur every, say, for example, Wednesday and Thursday during a 3-hour time frame? I know I can do it with Google On Air, but I've not been able to figure out how to go about scheduling standard Hangouts, Google Plus Hangouts, throughout the semester. You know, for example, for office hours, so that they're just out there, and the minute the office hours begin, they go live. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I absolutely do see what you're saying, and I am fairly certain that the way to do this, I think Debbie just did this past week, is if you do it from within your calendar. So don't set it up as a normal Google Plus Hangout, but instead go into your calendar, set up an appointment in your calendar, and then within that appointment you can edit it, and you add a video call to it. And so I think that is how you do it. So then you set up your recurring appointment within your calendar and add a video call, and that should do it.
Why would I need a video call with it? Why couldn't I just let the students join whenever they wanted to? Why couldn't I just schedule the Google Plus Hangout?
Well, so it is actually a Google Plus Hangout. I don't know why Google calls it something different, but they do. And so the video call is the Google Hangout, if that helps.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, I have to say this, I think Hangouts are so much easier to use than this Collaborate.
I totally agree, but here's what Hangouts here's what Collaborate has over. And anybody who needs to leave, please go ahead and leave, because technically we ended at 11:45. But Collaborate offers you the opportunity to put people into breakout rooms and have private conversations that way. Whereas Hangouts, they could do it, but they'd have to like break off into a separate Hangout. So I do, and plus you can raise your hand really easily in here, and that's kind of nice too. Oh, and interact with the whiteboard. Good point.
Yes, that's true. Whiteboard. The whiteboard is very nice. But my experience with Collaborate is that students struggle with it. Every semester they struggle with it.
Yeah, I have had trouble. Honestly, I've had students struggle with just about every type of platform I have tried. So I just sort of take it all in stride and we'll figure it out and we'll make it work. Yeah. But Hangouts offers some really interesting things, and particularly good, I think, for blended learning. That was kind of what I was hoping to get. I mean, certainly office hours are a wonderful use for Hangouts, but also for blended learning and on air and a low tech solution. So thanks everybody, and I will let you all go. And the next session is today at 1, where Katie will teach you all how to do interactive whiteboards, and so please attend her session. And we will, and thanks for attending the eTech Fair this year. And I'm going to put up that last slide in case you didn't have a chance to